Let's talk about this weapon, Graviton Lance. Nobody used this weapon in the past. Or I didn't say nobody, I'd say like small percentage of people use this weapon. And that's only because they like the look and probably the sound of this weapon when it shoots.
What is this shit?
Now, I have no inclination why this is the second time or third that they have buffed this weapon, put it in the Crucible for everybody to enjoy. But that's just me. This weapon should have never been buffed. Or, I wouldn't even say, matter of fact, I wouldn't say buffed. I'd say this weapon should have never been given more than one buff. It was okay where it was at when we had it before this new transformation. But now it's just everybody using it in the Crucible. And the only reason why I'm using it is because I wanted to test it out to see if it's actually the way it is. Because I've been dying to this left and right. And I'm trying to figure out why in the world is everybody using this weapon. And I figured out that they buffed it. And I see no reason to, or see too many reasons to. You gave it a RPM and a damage buff. That's what I think. That's what I've seen so far. And everybody in the Crucible, or most people in the Crucible, are just running around with this weapon and spraying everybody with it. And it's not like it's just good players using it. Because the fact that good players use it is kind of sad too. Because y'all are just using it to abuse it at this point. Y'all are good players. I don't know why we're using this. But it's the fact that, no offense, but bum players who are not too good at the game get on the game, figure out a weapon that's just been buffed, and the first thing they want to do is to use it and spray it in the Crucible. It kind of reminds me of that era when Trials first came out and they buffed the hard light in every other auto rifle, and all you seen in the Crucible was an auto rifle spray meta, and no one could play because everybody was just spraying the weapon. That's the time where I think about left that jump, because I could not take that no more. That the whole I suck, so I'm just gonna spray a weapon and pray to God that I kill everybody on the team, because there's no point. I can just shoot the wall and just spray it. But anyways, back to this weapon. Now, the reason why I have such a big problem with this is because it doesn't really take too much skill to use this weapon. As you can see in that one kill right there, I just sprayed him down. He probably had the most flinch in the world, especially since there's stuff to counter this, but it's like I shouldn't have to counter a Graviton Lance too much. It should be one of those weapons like it should be able to counter, but the fact that I can run in your face with this weapon and almost be pretty much confident to blow you away, it tells you how much you need to know about this weapon. And it's not like I'm the only one using it. Like I said, multiple people are using it, and it's just too damn annoying. Like for example, this dude right here, this Anto dude, this guy was using an R rifle in the beginning, seeing that I was using this pulse, and he just switched to it. And I don't get it. And I feel like the only reason why Bungie buffed it, because they noticed that this weapon has barely any usage in the Crucible, barely any usage in PvE. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna buff it and pray that this weapon is not too strong in the Crucible, because we're not gonna test it. I don't even think they tested this weapon. It's a three bursting 2-round weapon. Three bursting 2-round weapon. 2-burst weapon.
A point blank shotgun.
All it takes is 3 bursts to the head to kill you, or three separate bursts, and then it's a 2 RPM weapon, 2-shotting offering weapon. It's very annoying to having to base this in the Crucible, especially since when you play comp, it's actually people in comp spraying you with this weapon down and using all types of buffs and whatever just to pretty much 2 burst you in the Crucible. It's not fun. And honestly, having this much people use it who are not even saying the fact that these people are good. These people are rocking like below average KD, and they can spray you down in the Crucible. And all the good weapons like snipers, hand cannons, those type of weapons are pretty much, you're gonna get the most flinch out of these weapons. And if you try to use a linear, you already know how that goes. So if someone sprays you down with this weapon, you're pretty much fucked. And there's not much you can do other than use another pulse rifle to combat this pulse rifle, or just use a Graviton Lance. So I just don't understand why it's such a what's the more of a reason to buff this weapon, especially to make it spray. Because I think you remember during Forsaken, this weapon was, I think it was Forsaken, that when they got a buff, and it was hella strong in the Crucible, everyone was just running around spraying this weapon, and after that they nerfed it, and then bring it down, and now it was like one of those okay weapons. Like, oh, if you want to use this, it's okay. It's not too bad, and it's just one of those things. But yeah, I don't see the reason to buff this. And I feel like this weapon was just randomly buffed. I don't even know what the foresight was to this. Like, they would just say, oh, let's just buff the Graviton. Like, what was that? There's so many other weapons that need to. In fact, yeah, that's another thing. Why do they keep buffing weapons? They buff. I swear, maybe it's just me, but I feel like they just buff every weapon. Coming back to this game, every time I look, something's been buffed. Something is especially a random weapon. It's just been randomly buffed. There was like, oh, well, we'll just buff it just to, you know, ease the problems in the Crucible. We don't know what to do. Like, why do that? They nerfed snipers. When I say nerf, they just gave it more flinch. So whenever you get shot at, you have less accuracy. It's the funniest shit. Or, well, we're gonna nerf hand cannons. We're gonna give more flinch to hand cannons. We're gonna give more flinch to weapons that actually take, I'd say, a bit more skill than spraying you down with a pulse rifle. Especially something like a Graviton Lance. Like, if you've ever been shot at by a Graviton Lance, that thing sends your screen to the moon. Matter of fact, you're probably gonna see it in this clip in the second where I get sprayed at and my gun just goes like, it's just shaking. I'm like, my god. Even when unflinching, it doesn't do too much. It does like the bare minimum of the helping you. At least that's what I feel like. I don't have any numbers to back that up. But it does shake the screen a little bit.
I don't know why, but every time I think they're dying, when I shoot them in the head, so I just stop.
Like I said, I don't understand why this weapon was really buffed, other than the fact that it had no real people using this weapon that often, because I don't think it was meant to be that good. Plus, I mean, look at the Catalyst before. The Catalyst before was hidden hand. The Catalyst now is turnabout and Vorpal weapon. Oh yeah, look at this dork right here, Neon Sky. Yo, he's a dork. Anyways, yeah, now it's turnabout and Vorpal weapon, and that's not even the only thing. If you look at this weapon now, matter of fact, look at the stats real quick.
Block me and lead a group chat like it was gonna hurt me. Wasn't doing shit on my team anyway.
Alright, so this is coming from Bungie's website themselves. This says increased RPM from 257, which is the normal one before the buff, to 300 post buff, and reduce burst delay by 20%. Now matches Revision Zero's hockey heavy rounds fire rate, reduced balance per shot. So now it's doing increased first shot damage from 9.5 to 19, almost double. Then you got critical. No, that's almost double. It is double. Then you got critical, which is 15.7 to 31.4, which is again double. So I have no idea why Bungie would just give it a pretty much an extreme buff, and I feel like their reasoning for it was to match another weapon that's also exotic. I mean, I guess that makes more sense, but still, it's pretty damn strong. And I feel like that, except for maybe nerfing these weapons, maybe buffing these weapons, they should just go ahead and just lower the damages on a majority of these weapons to balance it out more. Except for, oh, this weapon's strong, that weapon's strong. Oh, I'm just gonna fuck it. I'll buff both of them, or I'll try to match them. I try to meet the match at the highest tier, which I don't think is the best idea, because all you're doing is just decreasing the TTK, which is increasing the amount of time someone is going to die because everyone's shooting and killing and getting killed faster. And it feels almost like Why? Why are we trying to make the Crucible sped fast like COD, where you die in like 2 seconds? Where it should take a little bit more,
Are you?
to
Yo,
fight
some of these
somebody
people are
mid-fight
so
instead
wild.
of killing them in 0.5 seconds or 0.6 seconds. Like I said, I get it, but like at a certain point, do we really want this, or does Bungie really feel like this is the best move for this exotic? Because reading this, it says Graviton Lance performance feels exotic, but it was easy to miss out on the full damage of burst because so much of it was backloaded, and felt the tuning of Revision 0 heavy rounds to burst will be a good fit. So they were just trying to. It sounds like they were trying to match it up with the Revision 0. But that's just my idea of it. I personally don't think this is a good fit, because we already know how this is gonna go. This gets a buff.
Wow.
There's gonna be another weapon that gets a buff.
Who would have thought?
And another weapon that gets a buff.
Yo, it's crazy.
And the weapon that takes skill.
In his head as you popping your
I'm
super,
getting a little bit off topic, but the weapon that takes skill is probably going to get a nerf. And then the weapons that take the least amount of skill, like for example, this one, where you can just spray and pray and hope to God no one better than you is going to outgun you, maybe. And it's just that's just how it goes, I feel like. And yeah, I don't think this is a good idea. I really don't.
How did he just one hit melee?
And then just watching from this gameplay that I have, it's like you can see that you can see some people using it. I'd say like 2 or 3 people, but I should probably get other clips of more people using it and just literally sitting in the back and spraying this weapon. But I didn't feel like accumulating so many clips. Just that's just too much stuff, too much clipping to do. But most people who use this weapon aren't too good. And they're just trying to find the easiest weapon to use to combat a better player, which I feel like that's Bungie's fault, because they're not actually fixing the problem with some of these weapons. They're just hoping that they can buff it to balance out better players winning gunfights over worse players. Like, say for example, I'm gonna get off topic, but let's say for example the auto rifles. They buffed every auto rifle because they know most players are just used to that constant auto rifle spam type meta, like a COD or something. So they buffed auto rifles, and I'm pretty sure their idea was to buff auto rifles to get other players who use auto rifles the most to feel, I guess, included in the whole back and forth gunplay. But that's not helping the situation. You kind of made it worse. You made weapons in the gun pool stronger, which makes it, I'd say, more toxic. Because I mean, like I said before, look at the hard light meta during the first introduction to Trials. That was horrible. And anyone says it was good, you're lying, because that was part of the worst time in one of the worst times in Destiny 2 at all. It's probably worse than Prometheus Lens when we first got it. An exotic that has no damage fall off, maximum stability, can spray you around corners because it has triple to quadruple bounce bullets off walls, and the ones that bounce off the walls does double or triple damage wherever it was. Remember I said this is no damage fall off. Think about that. But back to Graviton Lance. Like I said, I don't think this is a good idea at all. I think in the future they're probably gonna nerf this weapon, knowing because this is probably a little too much. They're gonna probably nerf it, probably take it down from 19 to like 17.5 to meet it somewhere in the middle. And except for 31.4 critical damage, they're gonna do probably like 27, 28 to, like I said, try to go back down to that middle part to balance it out, which they should have done in the first place. I don't know why they just decided to shoot it up to make this a 3-burst weapon, because this is competing with most rifles, and like they said, they're trying to make it better because it's exotic. But like, I don't think that this was the best way to do it. And I feel like other players would agree that this probably was a little too much for an exotic pulse rifle. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Anyways, bye.
no way Cuz was dancing. How did I just die to that? I can't use over the scores. My camera's blocking the goddamn score. Nice try though. The Manticore, sir. Teammate, look up! Look up, look up! Was the Manticore, is the Manticore just this strong or something? Or am I tweaking? Did I not already have him killed? Like, what am I fucking playing? Yes, let's give hunters the ability to swan dive mid battle.